Hey guys, LeonardClipDart.com, and of course the House of Biceps. All right, I'm here. Got my new glasses. Got new glasses. New glasses, guys. My little dude kind of destroyed my others. Couldn't see through them. Maybe I can see without them today. It's Instagram day, at least one of this week. One who actually I've been trying to answer as many Instagram question and answer questions on the Instagrams as possible. But I come to the gym on Fridays and I've realized that you can't answer a proper question on a telephone screen. You really can't, not properly. I don't really like to answer questions through the telephone. I get a ton of private messages, direct messages, instant messages, whatever they're called. And I really can't stand those because I can't answer like that on my phone. Not a proper answer. And I think it's very unprofessional for people to reach out and try to ask questions that deserve big answers on private messages. I really do. Maybe I'm just old school, but I think it's really, really unprofessional. And I think it's really unprofessional for someone to think that they're giving professional answers on a telephone screen. So I want to answer a little more vocally. I think I'm better. Not right now. I'm stumbling over everything. A couple of scoops of pre-workout, and here I go. But I want to answer some more questions broadly and explain some stuff before my battery dies. And I haven't actually answered all the questions from day one on Instagram. So let me just go through here on some questions and see what I've got so far. Let's see. Straight bar squats are causing shoulder pain and some distal bicep pain. Any suggestions? The SS yoke bar is your friend. I hate people that just say work on your mobility, dude, or your bro, as they flip their hat around backwards. I really hate people say that. You can get everything from tight neoprene sleeves, compression cuffs, wrist wraps. A squat bar will help. Using a bar that doesn't bend. The bar that bends is going to press down on your wrist, and that's going to shoot straight down your forearm into your biceps, into your shoulder. And that's not going to be fun. That's not going to help your pressing or your life in general. So a real squat bar, thicker, 25 kilograms, 55 pounds. It's longer. You can widen your grip out, it just allows you to grip wider. It's not as much pressure on your hand and wrist. You can put more squeeze on the lats. Your chest will be more upright, and the bar won't bend down into your hands. Or you can go full on awesome and go with an SS yoke bar so you can hold the bar straight in front. Doing that at least every couple of weeks will take a lot of the strain off of your shoulders and off of your biceps and save you an absolute ton of pain. Probably not the answer you wanted, but it's well worth it. You may be the kind of person that doesn't have your own gym. You don't want to invest money into your own barbell, but invest money into your own barbell because you're investing money into yourself. Obviously, you should see a doctor too. I should have said that. Why the love of the denim bench shirts? I just wrote down here, it's a nostalgia of a different era in lifting. It brings back a lot of memories for me. And that was probably the third generation of bench press shirts that I was exposed to. And I thought it was amazing. I thought it was amazing just to see a brand new denim bench press shirt. And I've got a couple that are closed back and one that's been just cut up at the back and Velcro added to. It was amazing the first time I saw someone. I can't think of, I saw a hand-me-down, and I can't think, the guy was challenging all the West Side guys around the year 2000 or so on the bench. Jamie, maybe? Can't remember, but he had all kinds of patches sewn in and tricks of the trade just everywhere. It was absolutely amazing to see. I remember when powerlifters could sew. I remember part of training prep was checking every stitch of your shirt and you know, the night before rethreading little pieces that looked like it was going to bust. You know, and I even wrote down here, I mean, we remember the spray bottles, all the patches. You know, those shirts caused so much pain that you didn't even realize you were already in kidney failure. Those shirts hurt, and I really enjoy it. People used to get a lot out of those shirts. I really wish I had a bunch of different ones. I really wish that I did. I think they're absolutely so unique, and I think denim should have its own division. Fries or chips? You know, nachos, Doritos, and Lay's are chips. And then there are Freedom fries, which are French fries. So, you know, living in Europe, they call French fries, they call them chips. And in Greek, patates, or potatoes, because they're actually made from potatoes, cut up potato. The French fries here are made from real cut up potatoes. They're not like what you get in the States or a lot of other places. For a snack, chips. For food, fries. I love fries. I love fries. But I call them fries, not chips. So either way you're asking me, that's the way to go. Should I add Spotto presses to my bench press training when I already do floor, incline, and bench? I couldn't recover from all that. There's no way. I come in and I'll do speed bench. I'll do some kind of max effort work after that. I think max effort work for me, I can produce more force after speed work than I can just doing max effort work alone. I realize that doesn't do you any good if you're an actual power lifter. If you're an actual competitive power lifter, you have to be able to produce that kind of maximal effort on competition day. You know, it's game day. You gotta know how to run the game. And I do think you need 2 bench press days if you are a power lifter. But for me, the bench press is an accessory for overhead press. So I need to focus on speed work, triceps, and chest and shoulders as secondary muscles. So I can do my speed bench with a little bit of extra max effort at the end. I can focus either on speed work or max effort work for the day with a minor in the other one. And then I can do some incline close grips with a shoulder saver pad. And that's it. I'm toast. It's everything I can do to recover from it. So if you are, the only way I could recover from doing all that would be to like do 2 to 3 sets of each. And I'm not going to progress doing 2 to 3 sets of each. I need to pick a couple of exercises and really, I think that's where I've made the mistake before, is coming in the gym, doing like 7 exercises per training session. And I end up doing like 1 or 2 or 3 decently hard sets, remotely hard sets. And it's not enough for me to progress on any one exercise. I don't get anywhere. So I couldn't progress by doing minimal Spotto presses, and if I did enough of them, there's no way I could recover. You have to deadlift a PR for $10,000. What song would you put on the radio? Thunderstruck. No questions. No questions. I don't put AC/DC as near as much as I used to on my videos because they keep getting kicked from YouTube and Facebook as well as Instagram. So I'm probably just going to quit caring about that and go back to putting AC/DC and then just plan on overlaying music on all of my training. What's the best hand width for overhead pressing? I do a lot in the 24-inch range because the log press is hands facing and their handles are 24 inches apart. So I do a lot of work somewhere in that range. Nothing real wide, nothing real close, but a lot of work in that range. When it comes to a barbell or an axle, the idea is you want that barbell or axle to go across your chest. That way, even if you're strict pressing, you can kind of push a little bit. If you're competition pressing and you can use some leg drive into it, you need that bar, that axle to set across your chest or at least your beard. And so you need whatever grip width that is. So that's a little bit wider. But most of it's somewhere in the 24-inch range or a little bit wider with a regular barbell. But I'm concerned about competition pressing, not just building shoulders. Did you see dramatic changes on your first cycle? I don't think so. I heard all the rumors about, people taking half an Anadrol tablet and, gaining 50 pounds, 40 pounds, that was it. 40 pounds on their bench press in the same week. No. My training was already pretty spot on. My food was already spot on. I had already been over 300 pounds completely naturally before I took anything. I was in a dieting phase of getting back into shape before I ever took anything. I think what it taught me was it taught me what true recovery was about. It taught me of, oh wow, this is what recovered feels like. So my body recovered much quicker, fully recovered, and I grew because I recovered as much as I trained. And I was training really, really, hard anyway. So I think that is where people make the biggest mistakes. Everyone, I mean, people isn't everybody, make the biggest mistakes with anabolic and androgenic steroids or any kind of performance enhancing drugs. They look at it as, I'm going to take this and it's going to make me stronger. It's not going to make you stronger. It's going to help you recover. So you only need to take enough that matches how hard you're training just to help you recover. Anything over that, you're taking too much. You have better training sessions. You're more angry. That's a side effect. That's high blood pressure. That's estrogen. That's cholesterol lining your arteries so much that your blood pressure is sky high. That's not a positive effect that you're getting from it. That's a negative effect that you think is a positive effect. So you have to think about, you have to match. You always want to stay just a little bit sore. If you're never, ever, ever sore, back it down just a hair. You will grow more and you will get stronger if you are always just a hair sore the next day. Take that to the bank. People will argue with me. Have I ever experimented with Hatfield squats or Hatfield back raises? No, never have. I've never seen any use to doing them over squats, front squats, box squats, SS yoke bar squats. I've never seen any use in doing those over other stuff that I can do. Do I have a Spotify playlist? I've got a bunch. I've got a bunch on a Spotify account. I don't even know the name of it. It's on my wife's old phone. And I've got just songs that I've saved as a personal playlist, like 6 or 8 playlists that I use to listen and hear. A couple of MP3 players. Some have been stolen. Imagine that, from the gym. But I don't know. I'll look at it in the future. Try to make something. You guys tend to like the music that I listen to. So I'll try to make something that I think is pretty awesome with 300 or 400 songs on it. What is the name of my OG intro song for the House of Biceps? That song was bought and paid for by me. I had someone create that just for me. So nobody's got it, and I try not to put it out anywhere without some kind of voices or sounds over the top of it, because I bought and paid for it. It's mine. If somebody else uses it, I'm going to sue you. If you were not trying to put on mass and just ate normally, where would my body weight stabilize? Last night I got on the scale at 132.4 kilograms. That's a dot below 292. I was in the 240s, let me see, August. So that's September, October, November, December, January, February, 6 months ago. If I wasn't putting serious effort into it, if I was putting half effort into it, I would be around 120 or 265. If I wasn't putting much of any effort into it at all, I would be in the 240s to 250s. If I don't push food, that's the biggest thing, is I have to push. I don't feel like eating. So if I push food, I can gain weight, I can recover, I can train harder. If I don't push food, I can just be absolutely normal. And I feel like a decent, moving, much more flexible, mobile, sleep better, probably feel better person in the 260 range. But I'm not going to be strong. I'm not going to have any shot at doing the kind of numbers I need to get to Masters World's Strongest Man this year. Valentine's Day. All right. Let me change the batteries. I'll answer some more questions. All right, knee wraps. Wrap in towards the midline or out. These are both same direction. in and out. I think, you know, when I was younger, everybody always told me to wrap from the outside in. I never felt comfortable doing that at all. I feel more comfortable starting from the inside and wrapping out. Both legs start anchor from the inside and wrap outwards. My knees go out. I've met several guys that have told me and taught me the same thing. That's the way I feel most comfortable. That's the way I'm always going to wrap. It's start from the inside and wrap, pull my knees out. Is it normal to get a lower back pump during dynamic effort deadlifts? I think I'd have to look at your technique, but I mean, people always complain that their back hurts and they've destroyed their back and blown out their spine. If your chest or biceps or triceps got sore or got a pump, you'd probably enjoy it. So your lower back muscles, they're muscles, they should get worked. They should get sore. So that's just part of it. So if you're doing dynamic, I can't say that my back ever hurt doing dynamic effort deadlifts. So is what you're asking, yeah. I can't say they did. What I would look at is if you're deadlifting, watch your body position once the bar is at your knees. I'm almost guaranteeing you that your knees are pretty much straight by the time that you are there, and that you are lower back finishing the lift. With your back, you know, I really hate people that do the rounded back deadlift. I hate people that do the looking down at the ground. You know, they call it neutral spine. Bunch of crap. Your spine is not neutral. And then I hate the people that begin here and then force their head up. A lot of those are neutral, and a lot of those are just total, never watch themselves on video before type of people. So what I do ask of people is that however you begin the deadlift, you finish the deadlift the same way. So if you begin with your head down, finish with your head in the exact same position. If you begin with your back rounded over, finish with your back rounded over. You don't want to begin rounded over and then finish with it sticking up. You don't want to start with your chest with a Superman arch and then finish with it rounded forward. That's the musculature of your back not holding your spine in place. You don't want your spine to move under a load. So I'm almost guaranteeing that your back is moving while you're doing the deadlift, or once the barbell is at your knees are probably either straight or almost straight, and then your lower back extensioning to get it up. You always want some bend left in your knee once the barbell is there. Key ingredient. Last question about this, man, you can always ask questions. I'm always studying about this and asking people, so continue to ask questions. Can you take both CBD and MK677 at nighttime or a few hours apart? Yes, absolutely yes. The CBD is not going to affect your growth hormone levels at all. You have to look at the CBD stuff as if it works, it's going to go through your skin in a thin area. It's not going to go through super thick skin. It's going to go through your skin in a thin area, and it's going to attach itself somewhere near a root, a nerve root ending, and it's going to kind of change the perception of pain from there. I think once you explain it like that, it almost acts like a narcotic. But clearly and obviously it's not. The MK677, it's not going to have any effect. Not going to have any effect whatsoever. That's going to counteract those two at all. I couldn't afford both at the same time. Pins and needles feeling after straining really hard. Is this possibly micro tearing? If so, gains? Pins and needles, man, I think after really, really hard strains, the room spins for me. Blood pressure going up and down. If you're looking at pins and needles, that's a nerve numbing type of thing. I mean, I've been hit really hard, but I've been knocked out before. I've had my nose broke a couple of times in fights, as if you couldn't tell. But you know, you have that kind of pins and needles where it's a nerve stinger type of thing. That's not going to provide you with any kind of gains. without seeing you lift and seeing what's going on and what kind of lift that's happening on, I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on. So if you've worked that hard, recover really hard, because if you've really worked that hard, you're probably making some kind of progress. Is it odd that I can move more weight on a single leg versus both leg for reverse hypers? I think it's really odd, but I can do that too. And I think a lot of it is when you have both legs on the hanging off the reverse hyper, your hands out in front of you, holding yourself up there. You have nothing to anchor onto but your hands. Your hands holding on to those pegs. And I like it where the pegs are way out in front of you and not really close. I think the one that's really close is not the most efficient way to open up the spine. I think you need to be with the handles way out in front. So you have nothing to anchor your body onto. Your body is just hanging off. When you've got both hands on one peg, one leg is hanging down and one leg is moving, your body at least has some kind of anchor, to keep everything going. So I think having an anchor point makes it easier. If you want to prove yourself, if you want to prove this point, take a pair of light or average bands, loop them around the handles from one handle to the next. Go around a couple times, get them not tight, let them have some slack in them. Instead of holding the handles, hold those bands instead of the handles. And you have even less of an anchor to hold on to than the handles. And the reverse hyper gets really freaking hard from there. Can you deadlift in a squat suit? You can sumo deadlift in a squat suit. Absolutely. I've done it before. I can sumo deadlift. Well, I can sort of. I'm not a good sumo deadlifter, but I can sumo deadlift in my canvas suit. I could do it in my ace suit because they turn the legs out and you get in kind of a proper sumo position. I see a lot of people take their canvas suit and turn it around backwards when they sumo deadlift. You can deadlift conventional, but you're not doing yourself any favors at all by deadlifting conventional in a squat suit. Uneven bench lockout. It's almost certain it's related to my shoulder, but still not sure. Any tips? Your shoulder should not be a factor in the bench press. You should be taking your shoulder out of the lift. I think it would help you. Here's what you can do. Set up on the bench and make like a 7 board. It's not hard to do. Make like a 7 board, unrack the barbell and get that bar, do some 7 board presses. Empty bar, a plate aside, whatever is just basically nothing for you. Take a board off, go to 6, take a board off, go to 5, take a board off, go to 4, go all the way down. Look and see if there's one point where your body starts twisting and leaning. And you need to start working around in that board area just to get your body positioned correctly. It's probably something mental. It's probably a cue. It's probably a setup issue. Not having the shoulder blades tucked back and down, not having both shoulders smashed together on the bench. That could easily be it. You could be rolling your shoulders forward or keeping them flat on the bench instead of tucked back and down and everything uncomfortably tight. Try the board presses, not heavy. You could do this every single day. It's just you assessing where you are. Look for the board where you start to get a little uneven. Look for when the bar setup is uneven, and make sure with every single set, everything is tucked back and everything is completely on the bench while you're benching. Your end goal is 220 pounds, a 100 kilogram class. Should you eat up to it now and then get comfortable over time, or do it slow? Health-wise, I will say do it slow. I think everything works best in jumps. Make a jump and then stabilize. Make a jump and then stabilize. People don't realize what it's like to really eat and to really gain weight. I went from the 240s to the 280s in 3 months? 3.5 months? And I will tell you that once I weighed 127 to 130, so you're looking at around 280, life was rough. 280 to 285, life was rough. I was uncomfortable 24/7. And I don't think people think it's just, you're going to eat and you're going to get big and yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's not. You feel like death all the time. I'm not exaggerating. You feel like death all the time. You can't sleep. You can't get comfortable. You can't tie your shoes. It's that bad. You're always out of breath. Always out of breath. Cramps are non-stop. Getting in and out of the car, putting your seatbelt on, putting your clothes on, getting something off the floor, just leave it there. It's a goner. Buy another one. That's what kids and dogs are for. So, man, sleeping when I first hit 130 kilograms for, once a week I would hit that. And sleeping was non-existent. Couldn't sleep. The snoring was unbelievable. Cannot breathe. And you get to the point to where, I get an hour to where I can take a nap on the couch and I'm just exhausted. I don't mean tired, I mean really exhausted. And then you get paranoid because you're laying on the couch and every time that you start to come close to sleep, your nose and your throat just completely closes up because you've gained so much weight and you can't sleep and you get more tired, more paranoid, everything closes up even harder. It's a vicious cycle. So and then I've stayed there. I've stayed around 130 and I can go up to 130. I was at 132 last night. I can go around there and I'm okay. Right now I'm living in that area. So I had to make that jump. I probably should not have pushed hard to force food painfully, feel like you're going to vomit 7 meals a day, and eating all throughout the night, fluids, everything. I should have stopped about 5 pounds shy of that, leveled off and stayed there for a few weeks. And then forced myself 3 or 4 more pounds for another couple of weeks. And then forced myself 3 or 4 more pounds for a couple of weeks. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I feel much, much better. So I think you have to make a jump. But at the very moment to where you don't feel great, don't decide to go on a cut. Just level off. Just level off a little bit for a couple of weeks and then gain a pound. And then level off for a couple of weeks and then gain a pound. And make progress like that. No, I would gain all the way up to 220 and then just screw it. Does using briefs or suit help prolong your training career? As always, thank you. Absolutely. I think, they're young kids that come in here to train with me in their early 20s, late teens, early 20s, that they've made fun of my deadlift suit, said that strong men don't wear deadlift suits. Bunch of crap. Eddie Hall's 500 kilogram deadlift is with a deadlift suit. Rhiannon Lovelace, 63 kilogram woman who's pulled over 600. Deadlift suit. You say the Arnolds, they don't wear suits. They wear briefs. They don't tell you that. The Arnolds are allowed to wear briefs, but not a suit. So those young guys, it's they've come in here, they've been really rough on me before, and it really, really upsets me. But 6 months later, they've got serious hip injuries, and they're not training. You know what? I'm still training. I'm 42. Been doing this for 3 decades, and I'm still able to come in here and train hard every single week. Yes, I may have briefs on. Yes, I may have a canvas suit. Yes, I may have a bench press shirt on. I may have cuffs, 3 belts, wraps, straps, whatever. But 30 years into it, I'm still in here. You've been training for a couple of years and you're having to take 6 months breaks because your hips are hurting. Make fun of me, make fun of the geared guy all you want to, but in 30 years, what are you going to be doing? You can't even last 6 months. Top advice for increasing the raw bench press. I think volume work is great. I mean, I break everything down. Every new client, I ask them the same thing. What works for you? What doesn't work for you? And if you don't know those 2 things, you need to figure it out. Those are the 2 most important things in me knowing how to program you. So if you don't know it, I've got to figure it out. And it takes me at least a month to 6 weeks to figure out what does and what doesn't. I have to make the best educated guesses at that point. That's why I think a lot of clients end up staying with me for 6 months, a year, or 2 years, because after 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, I have finally figured out what works for you. And I'm constantly throwing something new in to see, hey, does this work? How long does it work? Let's repeat this, make some notes, and then every so often, let's throw it back in. So you need to figure out what works and what doesn't work for you. I don't think there's anything special that a raw lifter needs to do that a gear lifter, doesn't need to do. Obviously, if you're a gear lifter, you got to work on, your technique in your shirt. I think board presses it's more important to work on the heavier board presses if you are a geared lifter compared to if you are a raw lifter. I wouldn't go over, say, 110, 115% of what your 1 rep max bench press is on any board press. I don't really see a huge point in that. But get the volume in. Don't be afraid of the 6s, the 8s. Don't be afraid of working your weakest grip. Don't be afraid of doing some dumbbell work, some incline work, some overhead press work, and some bodybuilding. Don't be, and that's raw or geared, to be quite honest. But figure out what works for you and what doesn't. What works for you, and figure out how often you need to do that. What doesn't work for you, figure out why it doesn't work for you and how you can make it work for you. Hi, how are you? From Gourmet Meats. It's Gourmet Meats. I'm doing good. Check out your channel again. I appreciate it. Best way to cut body weight for a meet. Best form to cut body weight for a meet. Healthy dieting is optimal. I'll be honest. You're eating healthy foods, and that's healthy for you. Do the best that you can. If you are used to broccoli and chicken breast, then that's healthy. If you are used to breakfast burritos and Big Macs, maybe switch to chicken sandwiches and scramble some eggs for a change. If you can get somewhat healthy and get your body's metabolism kicking out a little bit, then I think it's much easier to water manipulate at that point. And I think I've never had any kind of problem water manipulating. 9 pounds is nothing. I can drop 9 pounds off somebody in a week. That's not an issue, of just water, and put it back on for the next day. So a decent diet, water manipulation, and try to stay within 9 pounds of what you need to weigh. And practice in the off season. Don't wait till it's meet time to practice water manipulation. Practice it at least halfway in the off season when it doesn't really matter. Know if you're going to feel like death or not, and know how to recover from that. Practice it. First multiply suit recommendation. I've always loved my Ace Pro briefs. I've always loved them over the top of the Ace Pro squat suit. Always have. The briefs, I can get the briefs tight and the suit one size too big. I would prefer to do that. I would prefer to get the briefs not competition tight, but the tightness that I can get them on in 3 minutes with a ton of baby powder and a few fans, and then get the suit one size bigger than it probably should be. That way I can get the suit on, I can tighten the straps, and I can still train on it myself. So that's what I would do. Those are my favorite. The canvas is obviously my favorite, but the poly metal Ace Pro, it's just hard to beat. That's my lovely. Metal Bash or Metal Pro bench shirt. I have them both. The Metal Bash is a really, really rough material, but I think it expands really, really well. I think it's got a very nice groove. But the material is really, really rough on the skin. They're both absolutely wonderful. I've benched 500 in the Bash, although it took several people to get on me. It's a size smaller. In the Pro, it's a size bigger. I've had it on myself, and I've benched press 40 pounds less by myself with it. That's unracking it by myself. I mean, that's everything by myself, getting it just slips right on. So they're both absolutely wonderful shirts. I think maybe the groove is a little bit broader on the Bash. But if you're a first-time buyer, a first-time caller, you may not enjoy how it rips into your skin. I think it's okay. Box squats for raw lifters. Same process as with equipment. For the most part, yes. Think about your box squat is not a competition squat. It's not. It is a builder of muscles. You have to look at the box squat the same way you would look at, the leg press, deadlift, rack pull, your snatch grip deadlifts, your good morning stiff-legged deadlifts. With that wide stance, you're killing your hamstrings, your adductors, your erectors. And the most important thing in that box squat is how reactive, how fast you come off that box. That's the most important thing, how fast and how explosive you can come off that box. I tell people all the time, it's like driving a diesel truck through East St. Louis after midnight, pulling a trailer, and you're stopped at a stoplight. And you see people coming at you to steal your hubcaps. When that light turns green, it's really important how fast you can take off from a dead stop. Doesn't matter your top speed, it's how fast you can take off at that point. So you need to be able to take off like crazy from the box. And it's a great tool to build strength. Don't think about it as a squat. Think about it as a strength building exercise. Grip width for straight bar floor press. You also have a Swiss bar. Train with your weakest grip. If you have a weak grip, and I don't mean close gripping like this, but if you have a certain grip that's a little bit weaker, train that weaker grip. Tips on how to train moving events. Do I program them like I would static lifts? I don't. I do for a lot of athletes that are in the off season. If they're going to do 3 events on a day, I'll tell them they can go like 90-95% of contest weight and effort on one event, and the other 2 events need to be somewhere between the 75 and 85% effort or weight range. Hello?
Hey, Dad.
Hey.
Why is Mom not answering her phone or the house phone?
What?
Mom's not answering her phone or the house phone.
She might be asleep.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm at Bobos' house, so.
Okay, I'm shooting a video. Give me just a minute. I'll call her, okay?
Okay.
All right, love you.
Bye.
Bye. Ooh. Training the events. Everything is mental, physical, and technical. Everything is mental, physical, and technical. So I think the technical part of the event is huge. So I mostly always focus on technique on the event. Unless it's the last month or so, I focus on getting stronger in the gym, technique on the actual event. And if we can't solve it that way, then I really start programming the moving events a little heavier. You have to look at the moving events are the events that absolutely tear up your joints. Super yoke farmers, frame carry, sandbag carry, those are the ones that they tear up your hips, they tear up your back, your knees, your ankles, and your feet, especially as you get older. So you want to keep that wear and tear down as low as possible. Any tips for preventing beard loss? How can I maximize my beard gains? Beard loss, man, I with chemo, I still lose beard hair every single week. I'll lose some tomorrow from the medicine I take tonight. And then I'll come in here and do log press on Sunday, and as I roll that log up, it's going to rip on my beard a little bit. Atlas stones with tacky, it's going to rip on my beard. It's just going to happen. I haven't cut my beard in years, and this is as long as it gets. So, riding with the top down, log press, front squats, everything else that I do, that's the way, and kids, that's just the way it goes. Get a nice, a good quality beard shampoo, beard conditioner. They do make a difference. You don't have to wash your beard every day. It's similar to your hair that you don't have to wash it every day. You probably shouldn't wash your hair every day. And you definitely should not be using the same shampoo on your head as you are on your beard. Get a conditioner, get some kind of oil, cream, something. Take care of it. It will last and look longer. Do they have something of it? Yeah, I'm not going to say that. I'm sure that's a joke. Hi and welcome to my page. Thank you, Mariana. But no, thank you. How to bring up weak abductors. Train them. Good girls and bad girls. Either hook a band around the bottom of the rack and around your ankle. Bring your legs in and out. Hook the band around your knees. Bring your knees out. From the outside in, bring your knees in. And box squats. Box squats will bring up everything. That's the number one thing. Every time I get someone doing box squats, proper box squats, the way I do them, the first time, like for the first couple of weeks, oh my gosh, my hip muscles, they're dead. Inside my thighs. Oh my gosh, I think I've pulled something. They're extremely sore. They're not, they're fine. Go out the next day and do some more with the empty barbell or a plate per side. Get them warmed up, they will be fine. Box squats are one of the best ways to bring up both of those. Lots of band work, keep your body moving in all the directions. Do some sled dragging, sled walking with something wrapped around your ankle into the sled. Not running, just walking and moving. That way you're moving your body, you know, and it's not being forced in a negative. It's everything is in a positive position. So anyway, that's wrapping up Instagram for tonight. I'm sure I'll have some more tomorrow and the next day. I'll make a video if I can. If not, we'll see you on the Instagrams next week. Have a good one, guys.